What is your favorite thing about acting that you look forward to the most?
Ooh, my favorite thing that I love and look forward to in regards to acting would be the fact that I get to play somebody other than myself.
Right.
I love breathing life into a character, and especially if it's something that I would never do or a situation I would personally never be in. I love acting that out because who doesn't want to be not be themselves, you know?
Right. So, if it's something adventurous that you would be scared to do in real life, would you want to do it?
I mean, there's really not a lot of things in life that I wouldn't do. I just went skydiving for the second time in a row, but
Oh, okay. So you're on that level then.
I mean, look, so I'm not about to come around and shoot somebody up, but give me a role. Let's do it. Let's shoot somebody up.
Did you hear about Tom Cruise and how he jumped out that plane like 100 times for Mission Impossible?
See, listen, that's on a whole different level because I don't know if I'm there yet. So, yes, I guess in regards to Tom Cruise and jumping out of planes that high up, because he was in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I ain't there yet, but I would so definitely do it if it called for it in a role.
For $5 million, would you jump out 100 times?
Absolutely. Oh, wait, 100 times?
Yeah, I heard he did like 100 times altogether.
Oh.
If you add up, I mean, from what I heard, I think it was like rehearsal and then shooting and everything. It was like jumped out 100 times.
So he literally jumped out of the plane 100 times?
Altogether, probably over the course of a few weeks, but yeah.
Ooh, Ooh. I mean, I like $5 million, but to jump out 100 times?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of rolling the dice, right?
Literally. Shank, shank.
Yeah, so in the short film, or the monologue, I guess, would you consider it a short film or monologue? The What's It Like to Be Black in America?
At first, I considered it a monologue, but it actually came out to be a short film.
Right. I don't see the difference.
No, I mean, there are a lot of monologues that can't stand on their own, but a good monologue can stand on its own.
Right.
And thus, it could be a short film. And the thing I loved about it was that it wasn't one note one time, and you didn't feel one emotion the entire time. It took you on a storyline. So.
Right, absolutely. So for something, I noticed that you were able to cry almost on cue.
Mm-hmm.
And is there like a certain technique for that you use?
I think a lot of actors use techniques, which are dope. I think techniques are beautiful. For me, the only technique I use is think of something that'll make me cry. Which I don't think is really a technique, if you say so. But yeah, I just think of something like horrible, and thinking really like, how would I feel in that moment of it actually happening, and kind of taking myself out of myself and kind of seeing it happen in front of me, and how would I react?
What's the all right, so what's the process of doing that beforehand? Is that something that you have to practice at home? Or you could just do that on cue. Like, let's say, for example, they added a scene into a short film that you weren't expecting, and you had to cry, and you had no time to prepare for it. In 5 minutes, can you go walk around the corner, think about something, and come back and cry?
Absolutely. But I think it's kind of a combination of the two things you said put together. So I think now because I practice so much of that, I can cry on cue. And so I can go, somebody tells me something, I can go around the corner 5 minutes and come back and give you everything you need. But prior to that, no, because I think so much in society, we're taught not to cry. Right. Especially as women, we have to be strong. And a lot of times as black women, we're taught to be like either the angry black woman, or known to be the angry black woman, or known in society of having to be so strong and holding down the fort that it's no room for crying. So that's why it's so therapeutic to cry and be able to just push it on drop of a hat.
Amazing. And what's your favorite genre to act in, and why?
Before, I would definitely say drama. I would definitely have said drama. Now, comedy. I like comedy. You know why? Because it's hard. I feel like comedy is harder than drama.
It is, though.
It really is. Like, to make somebody laugh, and especially, like, it's one thing if you write it and you think it's funny and you can easily rip it off and make people laugh. But, like, if you're doing something that somebody else wrote, and half the time I read stuff, I'm like, this is not funny at all. I don't know how I'm about to make this funny. That's the hardest part. And then, yeah, and not making it come out like you're trying to get a laugh, but making it come out naturally. So I like comedy because it's harder. like a challenge.
Right, but what kind of comedy like slapstick comedy, or would you like romantic comedy, or what?
I do like a good romantic comedy. I don't like slapstick comedy. But I feel like a lot of times in auditions, people give you slapstick comedy because it's the hardest to do. And that really makes somebody laugh.
Right.
Yeah. It's so many different types though. So many different types of comedy.
Yeah. Me shooting slapstick comedies. Honestly, I just feel like a robot there, just watching the whole time, because I have like zero connection to it at all.
Exactly.
No knock on it or anything, but like, like people jumping out of a trash can to scare somebody, and it's got its place.
Yeah, it definitely does. But with that though, it has its place. But at the same time, like, everybody ain't good at everything, no matter how much we try to be. Right. I personally believe. I think you can strive to be better at something, but everybody's not good at every single thing. And there's certain people who, like, take Napoleon Dynamite. Like, if I were cast in the role of Napoleon Dynamite, it wouldn't have came out the same. Because, like, I don't have that dry, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Like, I got some seasoning in me, some spices. So, like, but the guy who played Napoleon Dynamite was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's all about who you have in it. Like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Exactly.
That was fire.
He surprised me so much in Uncut Gems. You know what I mean? He was able to hit different places that I'd never seen him hit before.
That's the interesting thing, because a lot of people said that about Adam Sandler, that they didn't think he can do that, but I thought he always showed that he was talented enough to do something like that. Because I felt like he was still Adam Sandler, just with a more defined script. Usually his scripts, they're kind of just, they're bright and, funny, kind of relatable, kind of extra.
Very true, yeah.
But this one right here, I felt like he was still Adam Sandler.
But that's what made it so dope, because yes, it's dope to play somebody else, and that's why I love acting, but it's also sometimes, not all the time, but also sometimes dope to put yourself in it, because that's what makes it more relatable. That's what makes people love you, in a sense, when they see you outside of the role. You ever seen, like, I always see these memes of villains who, like the guy who was in Diary of a Mad Black Woman. We hate him. Therefore, when we see him in public, we hate him. But we know that's not him as a person. That's just him and his character. But he did such a good job that we hate you like you in person. You know?
Right. What's one thing that you feel like directors can do to make the job easier for an actor?
Ooh.
And just directors in general.
Take an acting class.
Yeah, you mean in the perspective of an actor, or just watch an acting class?
In the perspective of an actor. I think a director should take an acting class in the perspective of being an actor, to understand where we're coming from. But I think in vice versa, we should also take on learning some of the things that they go through. I think some of the best directors are actors.
That's a fact. And I think that's really because they know how to speak to actors. It's
all about the dialogue, because directors, they want what they want when they want it.
Right.
And sometimes as an actor, sometimes everybody's not able to. You might have an off day or whatever. You're not able to get into that moment right there and right then. But I mean, being professional, you should be able to get to that point, but sometimes we just can't. And I need a second,
Yeah, and for me, I've never been an actor. I've sat and watched certain parts of acting class, but what I do to kind of get over that barrier?
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
It's as simple as just being a human.
That's it.
You get what I'm saying? Because if you go in there on some, just very arrogant and just want what you want right now, then nobody likes you, and you're more like a robot, or you want people to be robots.
Exactly.
But even if you've never directed anything before, if you have a good sense of just storytelling and communicating with people, or just listening, like if someone is telling you, okay, I need a few minutes to do this, that, and the third,
right,
and don't put pressure on them at the right times, I think that's almost as good. But yeah, that's good advice that you said.
But that's what an actor is. A great actor is someone who's a great listener, because even in dialogue right now, when you're not, even when you're doing a monologue, you have to listen to yourself and be present in all the words and all the beats that you're taking, and be able to take people on that emotional ride. When you're doing a scene with another person, you have to listen and know how to react to what they're saying before they say it. You know what I mean? You can't tell the story before they even say their word.
Yeah. I mean, you got like a lot of people who, when they first start acting, they just say their lines. They're not listening. Like one person says it, and they can't wait to just hurry up and say their next line. They're not giving any pauses and seconds to interpret. Like someone just said, "I think they killed them," and the next person just jumps in and says, "Well, if that's the case, what do we need to do?"
Right.
No, you need to interpret
exactly
that news. Yeah.
Because that. Some of the best acting that I've ever seen, and I'm still trying to learn, you know what I mean? No one's perfect. Who am I, you know? But I think some of the best acting is in reactions, when you don't even say anything, and it's just, look at Denzel. Everyone uses Denzel's eyes. He tells everything in his eyes. When you look at Loretta Devine, oh my gosh, her facial expressions are everything.
Right.
She don't even have to say anything. But when she does say something, it's so prophetic.
Have you ever seen the movie Drive?
I haven't seen Drive.
Have you ever heard of a show called Too Young to Die Old? Okay, that's the same director from Drive. His name is Nicholas Winding Refn.
Okay.
And he leaves a lot of spaces in his script. So he'll tell the actors to stand there. So when one speaks, it's almost like elongated, the pauses in between. And I think that's him creating what you just said on screen, but he's writing it for that.
That's so dope, because half the time it's not written. It's not written, you know?
And I think it's because they're probably trying to do what they think they want them to do.
Right. It's.
Or they just don't probably get it.
I think it's a combination of the two. They probably just don't get it. And a lot of times actors, we don't speak director language. So you all are looking at stuff from a screen, a monitor. We're looking at it happen in real life between our exchange. So we don't know what it looks like on camera. So I think it's important for us as actors to be aware of what we look like on camera, how our angles, all that comes with the process of learning who you are as an actor and stepping outside of just that actor bubble. You have to be multifaceted.
Absolutely. What's an unpopular opinion about any film that you have that a lot of people disagree with?
An unpopular opinion about any film that other people disagree with?
For example, is there any movie that a lot of people think is trash and you love, or vice versa?
I'm trying to remember. I was just watching one and I was trying to think of sheesh. I think on that one, I would say, I'm going to say it. So, a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about Tyler Perry-esque things.
Yeah.
Which they're entitled to.
Right.
However, one of the movies that I did like was Temptation. And the reason why I liked it was because Journey Smollett, anybody that talks to me about acting, I always bring up her. Journey Smollett is one of my favorite actresses. Reason being is because she has played everything under the sun. She's been a superhero. She's been, she played in Underground where she was a slave. It was a period piece, but it was a different turn of events. She's played, she was in Full House. She was in several series with her siblings. Like, the girl has done it all, to be quite frankly. She was in The Great Debaters with Denzel. And man, she's excellent. So for me, anything she touches is going to be gold. However, people have an unpopular idea, because it is Tyler Perry, and some of his things in the past, just maybe haven't been up to the par of what people like.
Right.
Some people enjoy it, and that's why it's still on the film. So go him. But for sure, Temptation.
You love that movie?
I love it. Yeah, I love it simply because of Journey Smollett.
Right.